Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, The Dizzy Jewels. Today I just wanted to make a short ASMR video about my Blu-ray DVD collection. So I have a few of my Blu-rays out that I want to show you all. These are some of my favorite Blu-ray discs that I have. And so this first one is a classic. This is a classic film, Dodgeball, starring Vince Vaughn and Ben Stiller, the unrated version. And I absolutely love this movie. I quote it all the time, and I just think it's so funny. I love Ben Stiller, he's so great. And so if you haven't seen this film, I'd be surprised because it's always playing on the TV as a rerun, or it's pretty old by this point. So I would think that most people, if you're a fan of comedy, you've probably seen this movie. I think it was released in 2004, so it's pretty decently old. And it says here on the back, it says, "You'll dodge, duck, dip, dive, and laugh out loud watching Vince Vaughn and Ben Stiller settle their differences in a winner-take-all dodgeball competition." Co-starring Grip Torn as legendary ADAA champ Patches O'Houlihan, Dodgeball, a true underdog story, is filled with hilarious sight gags and balls out fun. And so this comedic duo is basically face off against each other in a dodgeball tournament. And it's just filled with shenanigans and like really funny scenes. And one of my favorite actors, Justin Long, he comes out in this movie. He's really young in this film. And so if you like Justin Long, he's not one of the main characters, but he's like a supporting role. And he's really funny in this too, so I don't want to spoil it for you just in case you haven't seen it, but they face off and one of them wins the tournament, so you have to watch it to find out. And look at this mustache. This mustache is just awesome. I love when guys have, really, even though it's fake, clearly fake, I really love it when guys have strong mustaches like this. And look at his hair is perfectly coiffed. It's great. Love Ben Stiller. Okay. Another classic movie and one of my all-time favorites is Elf, starring Will Ferrell, with James Caan, and Emily Deschanel also comes out in this film. So this is basically everybody's favorite Christmas movie. I mean, obviously, I love Will Ferrell as an actor. Just his face he looks so sweet and innocent, but he always does the most outrageous and outlandish things. It's so unexpected. It's so funny. Okay, so in this movie, Buddy, played by Will Ferrell, is different from all of Santa's other elves. For one thing, he's a cotton-headed ninny muggins when it comes to making toys. For another, he's 6'3", and the real clincher, he's human. So one special December, Buddy sets off on a holiday adventure to New York City in quest of his real dad. How Buddy finds his father, played by James Caan, and the meaning of Christmas is a joyous, jaunty, sweet as a candy cane gift for everyone who loves bright contemporary comedy and timeless all-family classics. Yeah, so this movie's basically about Will Ferrell. He's trying to he realizes basically as he's working in Santa's workshop that he's not an elf. And so Santa breaks it to him that he's actually human. So he tries to find his biological father who lives in New York City. And so this is basically the story of father and son reuniting and trying to become a family after not knowing each other for years and years. The dad didn't even realize he had a son, and then after getting over the shock that he has a son, he has to get over the shock that his son thinks that he's an elf, which his dad doesn't believe in Santa, so he doesn't know that elves are real. So it's basically them trying to like figure everything out, their whole new family dynamic. And it's just like a comedy classic. I really recommend this movie. You should watch it during the holiday season, and I usually watch it at least once a year. I even have an Elf Monopoly board game. That's how much I like this film. Okay, so this next movie isn't exactly a comedy. It's more of a drama. And it's Friday Night Lights. So this is a movie centered around a high school football team in Odessa, Texas. And it stars Billy Bob Thornton as the high school football coach, and Lucas Black also comes out in this film. And if you don't know who Lucas Black is, he is the main character from the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. So he has come out in other movies and like TV shows. He's been acting since he was a kid, but a lot of people know him from Tokyo Drift or Friday Night Lights. So this movie was really popular when it came out. It even spurned the TV show Friday Night Lights. But it's kind of old now. I want to say this came out like in 2008 or something, but I don't know if I can find the copyright date. Oh my gosh, 2004? I did not know it was that old. Okay. So this is, reading the back here, it says, a genuine stand-up and cheer movie about a courageous high school football team's fight to fulfill their destiny and live their dream. Friday Night Lights is unforgettable and real. Based on the best-selling book by H.G. Bissinger and starring Billy Bob Thornton, it's a true American story of how one legendary Texas town made hope come alive under the exhilarating glare of Friday Night Lights. One of the greatest sports stories ever told is now one of the greatest sports movies ever made. And so if you're a fan of like sports dramas, then you'll probably like this movie. But if you're not interested in sports, you might not like it. But I still recommend it because it has it's just like, if you enjoy movies, maybe you're not a sports fan, but you enjoy movies about the underdog, fighting their way to the top, you might like this movie because the team it focuses on is the underdog in the league that they're playing in, and so they have to work harder than everyone else to win the games. And so it's like an underdog tale too. So if you're a fan of underdog movies or stories, you still might like this even if you're not a sports fan. So it's worth checking out. And I really like this movie because I like Lucas Black as an actor. So usually if he comes out in something, I try to watch it. And I just so happen to really enjoy this film. And I've also seen the TV show. The TV show is good too. It can be a little bit, I want to say soapboxy. The show is a little bit like a soapbox almost, but it's still pretty good. Okay, so this next one is one of my all-time favorite movies. It's Interstellar. That was kind of loud. So, sorry, it's just, I thought there was somebody at my front door, but I don't think there's anyone there. I was hearing some noises and I was getting a little worried. Okay. So, this film is rated PG-13 and it's one of my favorite movies ever. it was directed by Christopher Nolan, starring Matthew McConaughey, a great actor, Anne Hathaway, Jessica Chastain, and Michael Caine. A must-see masterpiece. Okay, so from director Christopher Nolan comes the story of a team of pioneers undertaking the most important mission in human history. Academy Award winner Matthew McConaughey stars as ex-pilot turned farmer Cooper, who must leave his family and a foundering Earth behind to lead an expedition traveling beyond this galaxy to discover whether mankind has a future among the stars. Academy Award winner Anne Hathaway and Academy Award nominee Jessica Chastain also star in the landmark film, and this has been described as one of the most exhilarating film experiences so far this century. And so I didn't actually see this in theaters, which I kind of regret because it probably would have been amazing, but I saw it on my TV. It was still good, but I imagine seeing it in the movies with the surround sound and like the big picture was probably a whole different experience than watching it at home on your TV screen. Okay, so this also has Matt Damon in it, and I'm surprised it doesn't list his name up here because he's like a main plot character, or he does some stuff in this movie, and you kind of like, I'm kind of surprised that his name's not listed on the front. It's not even listed on the back here. That's funny. But yeah, Matt Damon definitely comes out. I'm surprised his name's not on here. And so I don't want to give away too much of this movie, but it's definitely kind of like a mind trip, and you might have to watch it more than once to fully like get the movie and be like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense, you know. And it's basically takes place in like the not so distant future where the resources on Earth are, you know, running out, and a lot of people are dying because there's not enough food to eat. So people are very malnourished, and there's a lot of like almost like pollution in the air from from dust and other pollutants, and a lot of people are getting sick from their lungs. So the earth is basically dying, and most people have given up hope on scientists and engineers to save them. So they kind of turn to farming to hope that the farmers will turn things around and be able to produce, you know, healthy food and livestock, and, you know, but they don't know that basically the earth is gone. Like, there's no bringing the earth back because it's just destroyed beyond a point of fixing. And basically a secret team of scientists and engineers, they know the truth or the reality that there's no saving the earth, so they try to save the human population by sending them to space. And they want to send like vials of human DNA or embryos or something into space so that they can propagate the human race somewhere else on a different planet. And so Matthew McConaughey is one of the guys leading the charge on the space mission, but he actually, without giving too much away, isn't the one who saves the day. There's an unlikely hero in this movie, and so it's really good. It's really thought-provoking. So if you want to watch a movie that's kind of deep, I definitely recommend this film. And it's kind of long, so make sure you set aside like 2 to 3 hours to watch it, because that's about how long it is. And you might have to like stop some parts and rewind it to be like, oh, okay, wait, what's happening? Let me rewind it to rewatch it to see what's going on, because I there's a few times where I was like, wait, what? And I saw this on TV, so I couldn't really rewind it. But now I have the Blu-ray, so it's all good. Okay, so the last movie I'm going to show you is one of my favorite Halloween movies, is the classic Halloween. And this film scared me as a kid, but in like, not in a, I wasn't like too scared to watch it. It scared me in like a fun kind of way, where I was like, oh, this is a scary, exhilarating movie, but at the same time, I'm not gonna have nightmares about it. So that's my experience with this film as a kid. I liked watching it because it scared me, but it didn't scare me to the point where I couldn't sleep at night. So it's like the perfect scary movie. And so this is John Carpenter's Halloween, starring Jamie Lee Curtis, a very young Jamie Lee Curtis. And the night he came home. I'm sure most people have seen this film. It's a really good one. And the main bad guy, the villain of this series, is Michael Myers. I don't know if you can see his face there, but he's the masked killer in the film. And it says, on a black and unholy Halloween night years ago, little Michael Myers brutally slaughtered his sister in cold blood. But for the last 15 years, town residents have rested easy knowing that he was safely locked away in a mental hospital until tonight. Tonight, Michael returns to the same quiet neighborhood to relive his grisly murder again and again and again. For this is a night of evil. Tonight is Halloween. Okay, so this movie is pretty old, but it still holds up as being scary. I'm trying to find the year. It says maybe 1978, so that was a while ago. And so this movie, I watch it at least once a year, preferably around Halloween time. Definitely, it really sets the mood and kicks off the month of October if you watch this film in October. I feel like it's not fall unless I see this movie. And so, what is this film about? It stars Jamie Lee Curtis, and she's basically a high school student who's a babysitter. And one night she's babysitting, and this killer is basically killing off her friends and trying to get to her. And she has to fight for her life. And the killer, Michael Myers, his weapon of choice is like a ginormous knife, and it's very intimidating. And he's the guy he plays him is like very tall and very muscular, so he's actually very intimidating and scary just based off his size alone. Then when you add the mask and knife, it's very terrifying. And so it's basically about Jamie Lee Curtis fighting for her life and trying to save herself before being killed by her older brother, Mike Myers. And if you're looking for a scary film to watch, it's almost October. Definitely watch Halloween, the original John Carpenter Halloween. There's sequels to this, and there's also a reboot series starring Jamie Lee Curtis, so you can check that out too. And there's also Rob Zombie's Halloween. It's like, it has the same characters, Michael Myers, and it still has his family in it, but like it's with different actors and actresses, and it doesn't really follow, it's not a part of John Carpenter's Halloween universe. It's kind of like its own standalone thing. It uses the same characters, but it's not affiliated with John Carpenter's films. And so Rob Zombie's movies are a lot more like gory and brutal, so if you're into that, you can go ahead and watch those too. But I actually don't really enjoy that now that I'm a little bit older, and so I don't usually rewatch those Halloween movies. I try to stick to this one because there's not really a lot of blood or anything like that, or gore, or crazy. It's not too crazy of a film where you're cringing while watching it. Whereas Rob Zombie's film might be a little bit like cringe-inducing just because it's a lot more brutal. But this one is still scary, and I recommend it over Rob Zombie's Halloween just because this has more psychological horror, and it also has a very creepy soundtrack, so the music really sets the ambiance for this film being very creepy. It also has a very famous I want to say theme song, so if you haven't heard that, just check out or YouTube John Carpenter's Halloween theme song, and it'll probably pop up, and it's very creepy, a very creepy piece of music. Okay, so just wanted to make that quick video. I wanted to share with you some of my favorite Blu-ray DVDs that I have. My DVD collection isn't that big. I have maybe like 20 or 30 DVDs and Blu-rays all together. You just can't really find a lot of good DVDs and Blu-rays in the store nowadays, so most of the stuff I buy is online. And well, thanks for tuning in to this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to do future videos related to my DVD collection and my favorite movies, but I wanted to keep this video kind of short, and thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.